It's day 78 and I think, well, at least from my first preview in London, I think this is the costume. I've told you before, I've been through a lot of blouses and at the moment I've got purple satin, look, purple satin with a sort of glittery offering at the top. Don't know, now I've got it on I feel a little bit like a magician. So perhaps I'm being a little bit half Great Soprendo, half Victoria Wood. Did you know, some of you do, I'm sure, that Victoria Wood was married to the Great Soprendo, who back in the 70s and the 80s was quite a well-known magician on telly and in variety shows and stuff up and down the country. And I was reading Neil Brandwood's biography, unofficial biography about Victoria Wood last night. I was reading chapter 5 and he got to the bit where Geoffrey Durham, that's the Great Soprendo, and Victoria had met. They actually, PS, met whilst he was living in the same building, I think in the flat below or above Julie Walters, coincidentally. They just met and they moved in together, and they decided to move to Morecambe together because Geoffrey had got work as the Great Soprendo, his magic act, on the pier, I believe, the variety show on the pier in Morecambe, which opened on the 20th of June, 1977, which is my birthday. I would have been 2 years old. And I was reading and it said, oh, they lived in, I think, Station Road. God, I've forgotten now. I've read it, I've underlined it, I've highlighted it, Station Road, and it's which explaining what the street looked like and saying that it overlooked the bus station, and I suddenly realised I've been there. I was there last year. I did this event called Vintage by the Sea for some marvellous, marvellous people who are called, what are they called? I'm sure I'll remember once it's time to invoice them. Anyway, it's called Vintage by the Sea and it's in Morecambe and it's at the Midland Hotel, and there's all these fabulous people dressed up in vintage outfits and vintage cars, lots of vintage cars come along, and there's this wonderful event where people bring their dogs along, and it's a sort of dog show, dressing up the dogs and showing the dogs' talents off, and I had to compare that with Wayne Hemingway, who I work with quite a bit. Hello, Wayne. And at the rain, the sheeting sideways rain, and these fabulous, fabulous people from Morecambe, they're just standing there. They weren't going anywhere. We still had a wonderful time. Anyway, so I've been to that street and I'm really hoping that these fabulous Vintage by the Sea people invite me back again so that I can take you and I can show you where Victoria and Geoffrey used to live. So there's this. And I've got sort of satin pants on, which my friend Gavin took up for me because they were far too long. So thank you, Gavin. I suppose I could sort of lay down. If I turn the camera the other way around, then it doesn't look good when I put it online. So this is the top part of me. Oh, look, I'll do some photos. And if you're following me on looking for my friend on Twitter or Instagram or the Facebook group, you'll be able to see some decent full-length photos. And tell me what you think. What do you reckon? I'm loath to buy another blouse. But I'm sort of going for the... I just want it to be a bit of a nod towards her look on An Audience with Victoria Wood, which was the big 1988 LWT show she did with the famous people in the audience. Fun fact, she is 6 months pregnant with her first kid when she filmed that. And yeah, so that's what I've been sort of trying to create with this outfit. I've had this frock coat for a very, very long time, and which is useful because that would be very expensive to replace. But the other things, oh no, I've had my trainers for a long time and my socks. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you think, please, dear reader. And also, my bucket is ready. Look, where is it? It's got, it's my bucket. It's the Victoria Wood bucket. So if you come along to see me at the Edinburgh Festival, at the end of the show, I'll be collecting money, because it's free to get in, but it is not free to get out. That's what the free fringe is all about. And then I make a speech at the end, just, explaining what the free fringe is about and that it costs a lot of money to be here, which it does. And then you run to the back of the room, the performer runs to the back of the room with their bucket, and hopefully people throw all of their earnings into it. And I thought, well, I'm going to have a bucket. I might as well have a Victoria Wood bucket, have a balmy bucket. So I think if you look really carefully, you'll see Mrs. Overalls in there somewhere. So it's ready. And thank you for everybody that gave me advice on glue found, because of the marvellous Facebook people, the crafty friends on Facebook, I found this fabulous stuff called Mod Podge, which I've glued all of these bits from Victoria Wood's books on. Yes, I ruined a book. And also it's the sealant as well, which is really smart. So I sealed it with 2 more layers afterwards with the same thing, because I hate not using things up. So that was good. So there's my bucket. This is my outfit, I think. You tell me. And today is mostly about trying to learn the Ballad of Barry and Frida, because of course I can't not do Let's Do It. I asked people months and months and months ago on Facebook and Twitter what songs, what do you most love, or what's the most famous Victoria Wood song can you think of? I can't remember what the question was, but anyway, the answer was Let's Do It from everybody, and its real title is The Ballad of Barry and Frida. And oh my lord, so I'm trying to learn it, which, you know, when you're 44 3/4 is quite hard work. But I'm sort of coming up with are they called mnemonics? I think that's what they're called, sort of devices to remember something by. So one of the verses ends with don't starve a girl of her palaver, dangle from the wardrobe in your balaclava, right? Let's do it tonight. The next one begins, I can't do it, I know I'd only get it wrong. Don't angle for me to dangle. My arms have never been that strong. So if I can remember dangle from the wardrobe in your balaclava, that verse, by the time I've said that line, I should be thinking about the next verse being, oh, it's the don't angle for me to dangle verse. That's what I'm doing at the moment. And I think I've got a little coping device, whatever it's called, mnemonics, to do it, apart from 2 of the verses I can't get my head around. So that's what I'm doing today. And yeah, I think that's enough, isn't it? Yeah, I've been blithering away for 7 minutes and 18 seconds. So I will stop, and I will see you in February tomorrow, if we're safe.